afternoon's webinar. My name is Matt Jacobson. I am the Online Learning Coordinator for the Learning Technology Center of Illinois. I'd like to remind everyone that we are recording the webinar today. Recordings will be posted on the LTC's YouTube channel within 24 to 48 hours of the end of today's event. If you have any questions, please feel free to type those into either the chat or the Q&A using those buttons down at the bottom of your screen if you're on a desktop or a laptop with us today. If you do type in your questions in the chat, please make sure the little blue drop-down menu reads everyone so that we can all read your questions or comments and benefit from the responses. Illinois PD credit is available for educators who attend with us live today during the webinar. Once again, you'll receive an evaluation in your email within 24 to 48 hours of the close of the live event as well. Without further ado today, we are joined by the LTC's own Nicole Zumpano and a few of our instructional coaches, and we will be learning a little bit about our instructional coaching program. So Nicole, without further ado, take it away.
Thank you to everyone for joining us this afternoon. I know everyone is busy these days. I myself am downstate today. I'm traveling to talk to different regions about the program. So I appreciate you taking time to be here with us today. So let's take a few minutes. I'll give you a little bit of an introduction to the program, and then you'll have an opportunity to actually hear from two of our coaches to learn more about the program right from them. So the LTC, I'm hoping many of you are already familiar with all of the fabulous things that we do. We are a statewide organization that works with pre-K through 12th schools, leaders, educators all over the state of Illinois on a number of different services. And you can see from the screen here, these are some of the things that we do, and our coaching program is one of those as well. When I talk about coaching, it brings me back to my experience with coaching. I am a former technology coach and a classroom teacher before that. And in both of those roles, the idea of professional development and trying to squeeze it into a work day or after a work day can be daunting for educators. So this was one of the things that I absolutely loved about being a coach and actually having a coach when I was a classroom teacher. It's tailored and it's job embedded professional development. Our coaches at the LTC use the Google certified coaching model for their philosophy of their cycles. All of our coaches are either Google certified coaches or going through the certification currently to become them. And you can see that particular coaching cycle is research based, and it is a model that we try and go through. Our program is fantastic and it's definitely unique. Our coaches are LTC employees, and then we contract the coaches out to interested school districts around the state. Each of our coaches has a set amount of days that they can split in between districts. So districts will come to us and say, I have a need for 10 days, or I have a need for 160 days. And based on the amount of days that a district wants to contract with us, we then will hire a coach or have one of our current coaches service those districts. So all of our coaches this year are either working in between 2 school districts or 3 school districts currently. The school districts share the cost of the coach, but because they are an LTC employee, all of that administrative burden comes off of the school district. We have 10 coaches. They are spread out across Illinois. Our largest contingent right now is up in the South Cook area, up near Chicagoland, but we do have coaches throughout, and we are looking to potentially add a few more coaches this year because we do have some districts that are expressing interest on signing on, and then our returning districts as well that will service. The schools that we do service range anywhere from pre-K all the way through high school. And then we actually have a coach that services two special education cooperatives as well. So we have a wide range of districts, 25 of them currently. These are some of the typical things that any instructional coach can do: coaching cycles, working with teachers to co-plan, teach, and model, and so on. But there are some very specific things that our coaches have been able to accomplish this year, because the LTC coaches will actually work with school districts to determine what your needs are. So you can see by this word cloud, words that appear larger are things that more of the coaches are doing. But you can see there's a wide range of coaching that's taking place, from professional development to a little bit of tech support to working with specific types of technology, but then also some other things that aren't necessarily technology related, but the coaches still work on. I should also say all of our current coaches are former classroom teachers, so they all understand pedagogy as well as technology on top of that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to Sarah. Sarah is one of our coaches. She is in Southern Illinois. She is going to spend a little time talking to you about how she spends her time as an LTC coach.
All right, thank you, Nicole. As Nicole said, I'm Sarah Phelps, and I am in the southwestern part of Illinois, kind of what we refer to as the Metro East, not too far from St. Louis, Missouri, but in Illinois. And I work with 3 different school districts, 2 of which are K-8 and 1 that is K-12. So in that time, these are real life photographs of some of the things that I've been able to accomplish with the districts that I'm working with. It is amazing to go into each district, because each district has different needs and different desires to accomplish with technology. They all have different technology, and they all have different kind of goals in mind as to what my time with them will look like. So it's amazing to walk in and really dig into what each district wants and needs. So one of the things that has been a lot of fun, because it was a passion of mine as a classroom teacher and has continued to be something that people are interested in learning more about, is incorporating STEM and coding into classes, both existing classes, like embedding it into content, but also I've got a couple districts that are working on actually developing courses. So I work on creating and leading model lessons related to STEM. I work with teachers who have devices. I have had teachers who have robots and various resources they've gotten through Donors Choose, and they're just not exactly sure how to incorporate them into their day. And so I work with them on how to help them, make it fit into their curriculum, find ways to connect it to things that students are learning about. I've helped do Hour of Code. So in December, the LTC, the coaches work together regularly to kind of work with one another on themes for months. And so in December, we did the Hour of Code, where we went into classrooms and helped interested classrooms try out code.org. Did the same thing in October with digital citizenship. So digital citizenship is another thing that I work with schools on. I've done presentations for teachers. I've done presentations for high school students. We look at resources available. Again, I'm always sharing resources that I get from other coaches, both LTC coaches and then our greater coaching community. A lot of times districts have specific applications that they are getting. Maybe they're up and running. For example, I've got a couple pictures there. I had a district adopt Cami this year. And so anytime a district has a new resource that they want to use, we kind of dig in and try to become an expert in that resource. It may not be something that we already knew about. I definitely didn't have any background on Cami, but I did some of the Cami lessons. It became Cami certified, and then was able to support the district integration. I found activities to help the teachers try out the new resource. I also am helping support some Seesaw integration at 2 of my elementary schools, and we've been using Flipgrid as well to kind of just switch up some project-based learning. a lot of times school districts, like I said, have applications that they are interested in trying out. But then there are other times where through my professional development as a coach, going to conferences and talking to coaches, I find resources that I know are going to be perfectly suited for teachers I'm working with. So I will sometimes reach out and say, hey, I just heard about this amazing resource and I thought of you. And a lot of times that really is where our coaching cycle begins, because the teacher says, wow, that's amazing. You thought of me. You're right. That fits my classroom. And so that kind of sparks a collaboration together. I use a lot of my time with my districts to support kind of data analysis. All three of them have some form of electronic tests that they give, and so they have data. So I help access reports and help run, kind of those sessions where we look at data and dive in and identify ways that I can support some of their school level goals. And then, as you can see, for the resources, I do school-wide professional development. So on school improvement days or early release days, I may present the picture there of the teachers is doing a gripe jam, which is a great way to identify some things that they want to work on. I also do a newsletter in a couple of my schools. I have instructional coaches that I work hand in hand with. So we kind of work together to brainstorm ways to, again, tackle those school goals or district level goals. And I also have really found a great resource in Wakelet where I can kind of organize all of the things that I'm pulling in as a hub for teachers to be able to access anything from how-to videos to things like activities that are ready to go, so that teachers who are a little bit nervous but want to incorporate in more tech have some great go-to resources. So I could talk to you for hours, but that's kind of what I've been working on in a nutshell this school year.
Said, I am Elizabeth Byam, and I am an instructional technology coach on the complete opposite end of the state from Sarah. So I am on the Illinois-Wisconsin state line. I am contracted to 3 school districts up here. 2 of them are K-8 districts, and then I have a high school district that those K-8 districts feed into, along with a few others. So it's really cool, my area. They really work together quite well, which has been a huge benefit for me. One of the most common questions that I have got now, this being my 3rd year with this program, is how do you manage? How do you keep it all straight? How do all of your teachers schedule time with you and use you effectively? And one of the tools that we use is Calendly. So after we get our contracts from our schools, I know exactly how many days, and I talk with administration and work together on how they want to use those days. So just like what Sarah said, maybe I'm booking with them on school improvement days or some of those early release days. Some of them have before school training, like in August and things like that, to train new teachers. Those are all different ways that I've used. But then during the school year, how do you manage all of that? Well, we use Calendly. Calendly, I can schedule my days. I can split my time between districts. Depending on the district, some days I might split my days morning and afternoon between their buildings. So then that way I can be accessible to everyone in their district, or at least 2 out of 3 buildings. Just depends on what the setup of the district looks like. But I can split my time so then I can be accessible to everyone. And then I kind of rotate through to ensure that I'm there certain different days of the week, so I can hit every teacher depending on what their timing and their schedule looks like, and then also different times in the day. I lead a lot of professional development, both synchronous and asynchronous. So some of those things may include a newsletter, just like what Sarah was saying. I've linked one of mine. A lot of my stuff is interactive. So when you get the link, the resources for this webinar, you'll be able to click through some of these things. I lead a full group professional development, and some of my districts ask for a little 15-minute training after school for anyone who's interested, or it's a mandatory training to talk about one of the programs that the district has adopted. So again, it all goes back to those goals that the schools are setting, and that I'm working with the schools to try to meet those goals. I'm kind of in a very similar situation as Sarah that one of my districts is adopting Nearpod for next year. They had me in on all of the conversations leading up to, are we going to do this? Are we not going to do this? I had the opportunity to work through a Nearpod coaching program, and I'm actually midway through that now for the adoption next year. And now we're already planning on how I'm going to support their teachers next year. It'll be a nice embedded way that I can support teachers with the programs that they're bringing into the districts. As always, transforming student learning is super important when you're talking about bringing technology to a district and learning how to incorporate that technology into the stuff that the teachers are already doing. I've had many teachers take some of their things that they've done in the past without tech and integrate that technology with it. And again, there's two projects on the right side of my screen right now that the one that looks like the phone holding the apps, that is an awesome project that some of my sixth graders just finished. I actually worked with the teacher in a coaching cycle last year, developing the project, taking her ideas from her novel and working with what was your project before and what do you want it to look like now. And this year, it was so amazing. All I had to do, she just contacted me saying, hey, we're doing this. Do you want to come in and co-teach? So that coaching cycle that I did last year really transformed the classroom. I was able to just go in, co-teach, help with the tech side of things, and the kids totally had it. And that teacher really embracing what we did last year and using it again this year and doing it pretty much on her own was amazing. It was so awesome to see that. And then you can see on the right-hand side, integrating different tools such as Book Creator and things like that, even with kids as young as kindergarten. So I'm working with preschool, kindergarten, then all the way up to seniors at the same time. And then my personal opinion, I could go on and on and on telling you all the amazing things that we do as a coaching team, but I think the support from my teachers and showing you how I've impacted them or how we have impacted them, that's really going to show you how awesome our program really is. And so I have a link to a Flipgrid that just a few teachers have recorded on there. So again, you'll be able to click that and listen to some of those testimonies as well. But lastly, I think one of the most important parts from our coaching team is that we are truly a team. And we all have some serious strengths. If I don't have an answer for something, I can easily send a chat, send an email. I have my team of coaches and RETCs that are on our team at the LTC. There's always someone with an answer. And I think that's super important to remember. So that's what I have for you today.
Thank you very much. Yes, we do have an amazing organization all around. So some example scenarios for you. We have, as I mentioned before, a specific amount of days that each of our coaches is contracted for, and districts have different needs. Our smallest contract this year is 20 days. Our largest contract is 135 days. So it varies across the state and across school districts as well. These are just 3 sample scenarios for you. If you have a contract that is larger, many of ours are typically 90 days. There are going to be more things that you can accomplish in that time because, again, the coach is in your buildings that many more times than other contracts. But you can see even at 30 days or even less than that, coaching can still be beneficial to your district. It would just look a little bit differently. There might not be many deep dives with individual teachers, but again, you can have a coach come in and work with your high flyers or work with your district needs and figure out together what it is you want to transform within your district. Again, all of our coaches have past classroom experience, so they understand pedagogy, they understand technology, and our job is to meet your needs with technology within your district. So again, these are just sample scenarios. We can work with just about any combination of days. In terms of funding, we've recently structured a page on our website to include some common sources of funding for technology coaching. These are not everything that's out there. These are just what we currently are featuring on the site. So I do want to encourage you, if you're unsure of how you can fund an LTC coach, to come in here and look around. So benefits for teachers and districts as we go. Having a coach in district is going to allow your teachers to receive on-demand and ongoing professional development, learning, and support. That return on investment, back in 2020, many school districts had to scramble, and now they have one-to-one devices. And in some instances, some districts are saying, okay, we've got this. We want to make sure that we are using it effectively. An LTC coach can help with that. Because the coach is an LTC employee, again, there's less administrative burden on the actual school district themselves. There's less initiative fatigue because, again, we don't want the coaches coming in and being seen as, oh, here's another thing. Our coaches are going to come in and work on your district goals. So whatever your initiatives are, they are going to honor that and work toward that. So it's not going to be something that increases initiative fatigue for your educators. And we're finding, again, amazing satisfaction. I'd encourage you to listen to Elizabeth's Flipgrid, hear it right from the teachers as well. But we're getting a lot of fantastic feedback from individual teachers that are in the program. In terms of the process for us, basically what happens is I'll sit down with districts, we'll determine what the needs are in terms of days, and we'll finalize contract days. And then again, based on the number of districts in a geographically close area, in some instances, we can say, well, we have a current coach that can pick up those days and they would be assigned to you. But in other instances, we have so many schools that are close by that want to have a coach that we will then have to hire a coach. If we do that, the districts that are contracted for an LTC coach get a chance to sit in on the interview process to actually see if a candidate would be a good fit for their district. After we have a coach in place, you will receive as a district an onboarding document, which will give you information that you need to know and help give me information that the coaches need to know so that they can start off day one, hit the ground running. So I will offer some onboarding for the districts before the districts have an opportunity to sit down with the coach one-on-one and determine the needs. We have many different models of how our coaches work in schools in terms of, you know, some say we want you to work with specific grade levels for this quarter, or we want you to come every Monday, or we want you to come on professional development days. You'll have an opportunity as a district to sit down with your coach and to determine what that schedule will look like. And then finally, the coach receives ongoing support. You should be aware of that. That again, as Elizabeth mentioned, we meet and we talk to each other multiple times daily, but we meet once a week as a team. I meet individually with coaches throughout, and then we also have some professional development that we provide for our coaches, and we support our coaches with other professional development opportunities. So there is a lot of support all the way around. The one beautiful thing about having a group of 10 coaches spread throughout the entire state is, as a district, again, as Elizabeth and Sarah mentioned, you have the collective hive of all of those minds. So if somebody comes in and says, hey, my school is working on A, B, and C, does anyone have any good resources, or can someone help me with this? You have a collective hive of all of those minds coming together to share that information. So we have some testimonials as well about our current coaches. We're continuing to collect those as we go. So we'll have even more, no doubt. I can fill up an entire slide deck of just this. That is officially what the program is. There is a link here to the slide deck. I will also stop sharing in a moment, and I will put the link in the chat if you would like to go through the slide deck and click on some of those links. And if at any point you have additional questions that we can't answer today, by all means, reach out to me at any time. I am happy to jump on a call, or if you want me to come out and have a conversation face to face, I can do that as well.
We do have an anonymous question that has been put into our Q&A. And the question is simply, how much on average?
So that's a difficult question to answer because it does vary. So that is a question that I would ask you to reach out to me and give me an idea of your location and how many days you'd be interested in.
Nicole, Elizabeth, Sarah, thank you all very much for spending some time with us today and telling us about the work that you do in this amazing program. And yeah, I guess we'll draw that to a close. Expect some emails to go out probably tomorrow morning with links to your evaluation. Thanks again, everybody.